All right, the 51st annual Global Symposium on Racing is happening right now, and at 11:45 today, there's going to be an event that's going to get some headlines. You can see right here, the sustainability algorithm, balancing CAW growth with racing's long-term health. Interesting panel here, led by Pat Cummings. Scott Durati's president of Elite Turf Club. We've talked about Elite Turf Club is there. Dr. Marshall Graham, also there, professor of economics, very sharp guy. Dr. Marshall Graham, very sharp guy. You've got the NYRA president and CEO there. You've got Murray Wolf, a retired professional gambler. This event is going to garner some headlines. But today we're going to talk about an event that's going to be completely overlooked. It is closing day of the 2025 Mountaineer Park meet. Mountaineer was the cradle of the racino, the first American racetrack to get slot machines. Those slot machines were installed in 1994. Today, Mountaineer Park Racing is an unglamorous battleground, a battleground between action-seeking degenerate gamblers, very sharp retail bettors who are oftentimes big rebate players, and of course, the CAW. So you got like this three-pronged battleground between three different classes of bettors. Mountaineer is located at the northernmost tip of West Virginia. To its right, you got the western Pennsylvania border, western Pennsylvania going all the way down through here, Pittsburgh over here. Right over here to its left is the Ohio River. Mountaineer Park opened in 1951, and it kind of felt like that's how long Mark Patterson had been there. All these resignations start happening there. The director of racing, James Colvin, resigns. Racing Secretary Joe Narkavich resigns. Mark Patterson, who was kind of the face of Mountaineer Park for a long time, he was the assistant racing secretary, TV handicapper, morning line maker. He resigns. The clocker, Gary Patterson, resigns. They all give a 2-week notice, and during this period, I get hired. I get hired under the official title of racing secretary, but I'm brought in to do the Mark Patterson role. Now, these big behemoth racing entities, think of New York. At NYRA, they have 2 racing secretaries, 2 assistant racing secretaries. We found out recently from the day they canceled the racing there, they've got a clerk of scales and an assistant clerk of scales. NYRA has like their morning line maker outsourced. I believe Dave Aragona is the morning line maker at NYRA. They got like their TV guys, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale. In their case, basically specialists that don't work as racing officials doing very specific roles. That's not how it is at the smaller track. If it was football, you'd be asked to play offense, defense, special teams, and coach. You wear many hats and have many different jobs at a smaller track. In Mountaineer's night racing, the hours are tough. The racing office opens up at 8:30. You got to be there at 8:30 in the morning. Racing starts at 7 at night, often doesn't end till after 10:30. So I arrive at Mountaineer and I take up residency above a funeral home. I'm in an apartment above a funeral home. You see this funeral home here, it was established in 1900. So like 125 years of dead hillbillies getting their final go in there. I'm in the apartment up here. Steward across the hall from me, a great steward, veteran steward. He drives like this beautiful brand new white Mercedes and always walking. He's way up there in age, but I guess they say he used to be like an underwear model or something. He never had a sip of coffee in his life, never had a sip of alcohol, would walk 6 or 7 miles a day, always encouraging me to go to church. And just one of these guys that was such a keen observer of things. He is a great steward and quite an interesting guy himself, but I'm over here in an apartment above a funeral home. At Mountaineer, the number one order of business was to get the handle up. We wanted to solidify Mountaineer as the undisputed king of the time slot that it was in. That's Sunday through Wednesday, 7 p.m. post time. That time slot, very important for our long-term goals to win that time slot and have huge handle, have improving handle. The new director of racing there was a gentleman I know named Mike Bish. Mike Bish was a former college football player, got a college degree, actually played cornerback. You don't see many white cornerbacks, but that's where he played football. He comes in as the director of racing and a very hands-on individual, a younger guy. He had to wear many hats himself. I remember, Hawthorne wasn't paying their bill, and, he's like a bill collector from Hawthorne. There's like this huge deer population there, deer all over the place, deer coming across the parking lot. Every night you just see deer everywhere. Between races, the director of racing, an executive, is going around chasing deer there. He tried to get the security to do it, and the security guys felt like they were being demeaned. Didn't want to chase deer, so you got the director of racing going around chasing deer. And the biggest key to getting the handle up was post-time coordination. The old regime that was in place at Mountaineer, they ran races on time with like military precision. Mr. Bish, he would always have like TVG on in his office. In the past, they would run right on top of Del Mar or Santa Anita. If their race was scheduled to go at a certain time, they didn't care what was going on at Santa Anita or Del Mar. They'd run the race right on top of it. Where the new outlook was kind of like managing a horse. Why run against a stake horse when you could wait 5 more minutes and run against nobody and be on TVG? I thought Mike Bish did a great job in all the roles, but especially post-time coordination. Gulfstream and Charlestown had a post-drag, but he took it to another level with post-time coordination. The deer problem that we had there always worried me. The stewards did an unbelievable job in between races, like staying on top of it, looking for deer. They'd radio down deer patrol. And then you'd have the director of racing going out to chase the deer away. There were a couple instances where the deer got pretty close to interfering with our races. This is one of them here from September 14th. I mean, look, I worried about the unlikely event that a deer was going to hit one of our horses. That didn't happen, thankfully. And a lot of people, key people in high positions at that track, worked very hard to keep that from happening. But this has actually happened before. I'll show you a race at Turfway Park. The handle was up significantly at Mountaineer this year, thanks to Bish's coordination of the post times. An idea is one thing, but to execute an idea 1,000 times more important. He did a brilliant job of executing. Always had TVG on in his office when he wasn't chasing deer or trying to get Hawthorne to pay their bills or whatever various other things that would come up. He did a phenomenal job with this. And the 3 gambling elements that are there, the action player, the sharp rebate player, and the CAWs all got activated. You see here, Mountaineer, and it was like this week after week after week, but here right behind Monmouth Park, right above Laurel, betting pools were huge. Big handles. And that was very key for the next season, because the next season we wanted to do big takeout reductions, a lot of player-friendly things. You needed the TV show to come back for that. And I didn't jump on TV immediately. I had to familiarize myself with all the trainers, all the jockeys, all the horses, watch them run a couple times, do some work as far as trip handicapping. And for my TV debut, I was waiting for a horse named Probale 10, a James Chapman horse named Probale 10, to run back. When that horse came back is when I wanted to launch the TV show. Okay, so this was the race here. This was July 8th, race number 5 at Mountaineer. The one horse is Probale 10. And you could watch this trip he has. Doesn't get away so great. But gets rushed up for the lead. He ends up in this breakaway cutthroat speed duel early. Him and another speed horse go break off in a duel. You see here the 1 and the 2. I got this muted. Another thing that Mountaineer has that's great is their track announcer, Peter Barry. Their track announcer at Mountaineer, Peter Barry, I think is an outstanding track announcer. But you see Probale 10, the 1, in a breakaway speed duel with the 2. They're head and head. They've opened up about 8. This is a cutthroat speed duel. And right here, it looks like the 2's getting the better of them. So Probale 10 is in a terrible position here. In a breakaway speed duel, inside in it, the other horse has got him headed. Negron, I believe, is on Pro Bail 10. He's got to use him to get in front. This horse that he's dueling with gets beat 40 lengths in this race. That was the third choice in the race. So he duels the third choice in the race to an absolute walk. Now you're going to see him he's getting pressure inside and outside here. The 5 Bounteous. The 5's the second choice in the race. The second choice now has him headed. The second choice was back about 12 lengths early, has him headed and put away. He looks put away, right? He looks put away, right? No. This horse is going to re-rally, come around and win. And this is the kind of trip that the CAWs miss. They got guys watching replays for troubles and stuff. But these weird trips where a horse is in a breakaway speed duel, gets put away, comes back, re-rallies. Now this horse, Bounteous, maybe you think Bounteous hung. He come back and won at a higher level next time, this 5-horse Bounteous. Won on the raise at a higher class level next time out. I said, whenever Pro Bail 10 runs back, that's when I'm making my TV debut. And that's ultimately what happened. He comes back for his next start. I had to wait a long time. I think them guys were thinking I didn't want to go on TV, but it was like 5 or 6 weeks before he comes back. When Pro Bail 10 does come back to run, I go on TV for the first time with Teresa Quinones, who is the daughter of a top jockey agent there and was an alternate official. She ended up getting hired by Mahoning, and she's a racing official at Mahoning now. So there's amazing turnover there. I mean, they lost a director of racing, lost a racing secretary, lost an assistant racing secretary, lost a clerk of scales, lost a program coordinator, lost a clocker, lost me with a couple weeks out. So you really got to hand it to Bish and the whole team there. That's just a great group of people, great team. I love the people there. The horsemen were amazing. Love the horsemen at Mountaineer. Just wonderful people. Pro Bail 10 finally comes back for his next start in August. And the horse is like 4-1, 9-2 the whole time. And I'm talking him up. This is my TV debut. You know, this horse can't lose. This horse is trained by James Chapman, who had Collar 1 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at one time. Great trainer. Pro Bail 10's only a 3-year-old. It was out of Life at 10. If anyone remembers Life at 10, she was a grade 1 winner at age 5. She run at 2, 3, and 4. Was kind of a mediocre type allowance horse earlier in her career. Took forever to develop, but became a multiple grade 1 winner at 5. And Pro Bail 10, to me, looked like a horse that was on the come. A lot of people didn't know this, but James Chapman nominated the horse for the West Virginia Derby. And James Chapman, when he runs at Mountaineer, he wins at like 70%. He's got an unbelievable win percentage at Mountaineer. And he cut this horse back to 5.5 furlongs. I knew the CAWs, they hate when route horses, speed route horses, cut back to real short sprint distances, don't look like they can make the lead. This horse is like 4-1, 9-2 on the board. I talked this horse up like crazy when I was on. My TV debut was launched. I'm now going on the TV show every day. I was really prepared for the first week, though. I didn't want to go on TV until I had, some trip notes, was prepared, knew all the jockeys and trainers to the best I could. But the job was so tough, it got to be where I really couldn't even do much preparing. I would go on TV. I'd go on TV where I really only did 20 minutes of studying. I remember a day where I had like 7 top pick winners out of 8 with 1 second, almost swept the card with my top pick. And that day, I probably did 5 minutes of preparation before I got on TV. I mean, I was flying by the seat of my pants, and I never had a day down there where I didn't pick a winner on the car. I really enjoyed it down there, but there were so many other more important aspects than TV. I mean, it was almost like my least important job there, an afterthought. Now, it was going to be very important the next year, but for the 2025 season, it was just like, getting the show back up and running. Another key aspect of the show, we got a new clocker in. He was from Mountaineer Park is where he came from, and every day I would have him give me his work of the day. His name was Russ Wolby. He'd give me the work of the day. Every day he'd give me the work of the day. And, I'd go on TV. I'd have clocker information for the bettors, horses that were working good, and just tried to come up with things that, like, I knew the CAWs wouldn't have. I talked to trainers every day in the racing office, and I wasn't shy asking them about their horses in for the race. And if they were touting their horses and they liked their horses, I'd go on the show and repeat it. And the trainers who were willing to tout their horses, they liked it. They didn't mind that at all. I mean, some of them won, some of them didn't. Some of them ran bad, some of them won, but it just tried to do some creative things. And one of the things we did there was a fan that wanted to come on, and we brought him on, and another Western Pennsylvania guy, Mark Patterson, a Western Pennsylvania guy. I have huge respect for Mark Patterson. I actually, several nights over there, I'd go over to his house and, have drinks with him and talk about racing. Mark Patterson, a fascinating guy. I mean, he told me some of the most amazing stories about, there were a couple of unsolved murders at Mountaineer. Mark told us these great stories about they only catch the murderers in the TV shows, and those were some of the most amazing stories, that I heard from Patterson, and just a great guy. I mean, I couldn't believe 36 years he was in there, and that is a grueling job. I don't think people realize that is a grueling job. In the morning, you're trying to do the morning line, and you got calls coming in. Trainers are asking, for a race, this and that, and constant distractions. But it was so much fun. Interestingly enough, one of the most fascinating things that happened with CAWs down there was this horse named Macy's World. Now, this is from a private message exchange that the great Ed DeRosa, that I had with the great Ed DeRosa. And, I told him there's a horse in race 6 tonight called Macy's World. This thing looked 10-1 on paper and was between 10-1 and 12-1 the whole time last out. Got slammed down to 3-1 on the final flash and literally trailed the field the whole way and was beaten by a city block. I don't think I've ever seen one hammered that hard by them in such a turn in such a spectacularly bad performance. And what's interesting about this, that race where the CAWs hammered Macy's World, I was watching the Betfair exchange that day, and Macy's World, with like 9-10 minutes to post, started trading at 3-1 and was trading at 3-1 the whole time. And I'm looking at this going, what in the hell is going on here? I've seen this before over the years, but this horse is between 10 to 12-1 on the board and looks every part of 10 or 12-1. And this is in a $4,000 never win 2 life claiming race. So I'm thinking there's got to be big CAW money on this, because the Betfair exchange, people say the will pays. Yes, the will pays, but there's only will pays on a select number of races. The first race, where's your will pays for the first race? There's no will pays for the first race. There's no will pays for a couple races on the card at least. You follow the action on the Betfair exchange, you'll pick up the CAW horses that get hammered. And so I knew Macy's World was going to get hammered. I watched the race, unbelievably bad performance. Just trailed the field every step of the way in a 4,000 never win 2 life claiming race. This horse comes back a week later. The CAWs don't touch it this time. And it's 12-1 is what it goes off this time. Runs off the screen. I mean, wins by 7 lengths. And Macy's World, my final day there, the horse that happened to win the final race I did was Macy's World. Won the 8th race the last day I worked at Mountaineer. I remember finishing up the TV show. I went outside to watch the race. Macy's World got the win. I walked back through the grandstand. I remember, a bettor there stopped me and said something, just a real nice comment, told me how great he thought I was or whatever. And, I'm walking to my car. I see Terry Crago, a trainer there who works in the paddock, have a nice exchange with him. And, I go into my car, driving off. The handle was over 1.94 million that night. The only night that had a better handle than that was West Virginia Derby Day. We got there about 5 weeks before West Virginia Derby Day. I think they did over 2.4 million that day, and that was with Hit Show, the Dubai World Cup winner, 2 starts back. Hit Show won an ungraded stake on the card, and the West Virginia Derby was won by Chunk of Gold. East Avenue got left at the break. Chunk of Gold won the race. Hit Show and Chunk of Gold were the 2-3 finishers in the Clark Handicap a couple weeks ago at Churchill. Jammin' Cameron won the last race of that West Virginia Derby card. That was just a great card. But this card just had a bunch of cheap races and over 1.94 million handle on it. But I was starting to get like these nasty rashes on my leg, and they just got worse and worse and worse when I was down there. I didn't know what they were. I have a wife and kid 2 hours away. I had to drive. On the off days, I'd be driving back and forth to see my wife and kid. And, my legs were driving me nuts. It felt like there were ants under my skin. I don't know where these rashes on my leg were coming from. And ultimately, those were two of the big reasons why I just mailed it in. I mean, I just couldn't go on. It was a great final day there. We were doing great. And I was very focused on the next season. I had the spiral notebooks. I had probably three spiral notebooks filled with like ideas that I had that I didn't want to launch until next year. I thought next year was the right time to launch them when the player friendly stuff like the takeout reductions come in. And I was just very excited. And at the end of the day, I couldn't answer the bell. Like I just couldn't go on anymore. Come back home. I'm back in Erie for 2 weeks, and these crazy rashes that appeared on my legs are like all cleared up, like nothing ever happened. The horsemen down there, the trainers were great. I mean, the jockeys were great. Everyone, when I left, I got this array of like text messages and calls. And I felt so bad that I left. I just left them unanswered. I think the only one that I answered, I got one real early from Mike Baird. And I just told him, thanks for the kind words. I just got to do what's best, for me and my family. And, I felt terrible about leaving, but like I could not answer the bell. I needed like Teddy Atlas to give me some motivational speech in the corner, but I couldn't go on. Like I was just spent. So anyway, I'm definitely no longer a racing official, and the Mountaineer Park season will end tonight. Tonight's closing day there, and they had a great year, great handle increases. Mike Bish did a tremendous job down there. They got a great team. They got a sharp consultant, a guy that goes back and forth from Texas. A great team in the office. The clerk of scales there is unbelievable. The placing judges were like the only people that survived the meet, that were there from the beginning till the end. And one of them had a heart attack, and was like back to work 3 days later. I think they just unveiled their schedule for next year. They're going to have a 129-day season next year. There's going to be purse increases next year. There's going to be added racing days. I know a big problem that the horsemen had where the days were getting cut. They're getting days. They're getting more purse money. The breakdown rate was very low. I didn't track it closely, but for a long time, I mean, it was way below the average track breakdown rate. And so they got a lot of good things going there, and there's a lot of good things for next year. Just a lot of great people down there. I really enjoyed the people down there, and they're set up for a good year next year. But I'm back up here. I'm back making videos for you, and I'm back being a disillusioned racing fan is back to what I am, and it's disillusioned racing fan and the CAWs. There's got to be some reform. We'll have more on them for sure coming up. We are certainly going to keep a close watch on the symposium at 11:45 today and what they say. And there are sharp people on the panel. Marshall Graham, I had a 40-minute discussion with him right before I left about, takeout rates. Very sharp guy. I think a guy that's, brilliantly sharp and really out for the player. But Mountaineer Park closing day tonight. And I'll be rooting for them in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, everyone.